one of our core tenets for the company as a whole is frugality.
So how do you approach SEO? Do you have certain strategies that you guys are implementing?
They get excited that they want to become a referral. They want to become a net promoter for the product, which is what we really care about.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of Marketing on Mars. Today, we got a very special guest, Andy Karuza. He is currently leading the marketing team at NachoNacho, which is like a B2B SaaS Marketplace powered by FinTech. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, but Andy is going to get into that. We're going to dive into the startup. But first, let's get to understand a little bit about Andy. My understanding is, Andy, you're kind of like a world traveler, and you love to mountain climb and do a lot of extreme sports. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, that's right. Great to see you again, Simon. So I joined NachoNacho a couple months ago. We're at an exciting inflection point in the company. We just raised our seed round in December. We raised about $3 million for that. So right now we're looking to get into a high growth stage. Very exciting point there. As far as my personal life, I love to travel. Before remote work even became a thing, I guess I've been working remote for over 10 years. So when COVID happened, I was actually kind of a natural fit to that work lifestyle. As part of that, I like to, get really good work-life balance. So, I could work crazy hours. I don't have a problem with that because I love what I do. But I like to sprinkle in some activities like going skiing in the middle of the winter day, hiking on the weekends, going for some more adventurous expeditions on some of the bigger mountains as well too with some friends. So pretty much, I like to work hard and, I like to experience the most out of life.
So you've done a lot of crazy things. We'll get into your background. You started an agency. You worked with big companies like Google, Microsoft, SAP. You started a company. You sold it. You went on Shark Tank. You did a bunch of different things, and you did this all while working remote. How were you able to do it, and where exactly were you living when you did all of this?
Actually, I was living kind of, part of my travel experience. I've lived in a couple cities over the last few years. So I moved to Austin, Texas. We were part of an accelerator program with Capital Factory. So I lived there for about 2 years, when I was running FinSense, and, great experience. Loved living there. I also did 2 years in San Francisco. Saw a great opportunity to kind of get to know the San Francisco culture and, see, the number one place in the world where startups are born from. So I was able to live there for about 2 years as well. Now I live in New York City, but I'm originally from Seattle, actually. So I grew up in the Seattle area, not too far from you in Vancouver. And, so for me, like my entire entrepreneurial life has been working with people, remotely as I travel across the world. So I've worked with people in so many different time zones, and, I really love that experience, right? You get so many cool different cultures to work with. You find talent from all over the world. I've worked with people in India, people in China, done a lot of trips over there, especially China, to go, especially for manufacturing purposes. Once again, a great experience that a lot of people don't get to do. Worked with a lot of people in Europe and, pretty much any time zone you can imagine. So I'm used to, taking a call at 11 p.m. at night or catching an early call with Europe at like 7 o'clock in the morning. So I've become really accustomed to it.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. It's kind of the way the world has evolved to now, but you've been doing it for 10 years, right? So nothing has really changed for you. So
and this year I was able to spend a month in Whistler and Park City and, work and skiing a little bit every day and, work earlier in the morning, work into the evenings, but able to get that work-life balance that I really enjoy.
That's super cool. Well, let's dive into it. Let's get to know who Andy is behind the scenes. I've already spoken with you. I know your background. It's amazing. But let's take it all the way back. Early stages. You were very much in the agency world in the early beginnings. You started your first agency in 2007, ran it for 8 years. Maybe let's talk about that. You've had some really big clients that you've worked with during that period of time.
Probably an even more fun story. You could go further back than that. So I was going to college at Western Washington University in Bellingham, and I I met some people in Seattle, and I started to get involved in the Seattle scene a little bit more.
Hmm.
And I just couldn't wait to get out of college to start working. So for me, I was very entrepreneurial at a very young age. Even when I think I was like 7, I was picking berries and selling them out in front of the shopping mart. And then, actually, I didn't sell any, so it was kind of funny. I was really shy back then. And my grandma actually ended up coming by and buying all the berries off me. And then
Oh wow.
she ended up making jam out of it for the entire family. So that was kind of a fun experience. But family's always there. But yeah, so I was going to college, and I was driving back and forth between Seattle and Bellingham, and I was actually, couch surfing and sometimes even living in my car if I had to, just to kind of, get my experience going in Seattle. So I started a bunch of events, a lot of charity events. I also
Mm,
helped relaunch Seattle Fashion Week as well. So that was kind of a great experience. Met a lot of interesting people, and from that, I was able to launch my agency. Um, so before I even graduated college, I had Microsoft and some of these bigger companies as clients. And basically, what they saw is what I was doing with events and with my social media skills, which was kind of a newer thing back then, and it was pretty trendy.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and I was kind of seen as like one of the experts in the space. So I got a lot of great opportunities there, and from that, got to develop my skill sets to understand all areas of marketing from the top down, including the strategic level. And got to work with so many great clients over the years. Big companies alike, where you'd able to learn from their culture and kind of instill that in yourself. But I really loved working with startups and SMBs because I like that early stage of a company where you don't have everything figured out yet. So there's a lot of problem
Mhm.
solving that goes into it that makes it so exciting because you get to really own the results from that, and you get to really see the impact go so much further than some of the campaigns you might run for some of these bigger companies.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you started doing marketing before like early stages,
Mhm.
before a lot of platforms like YouTube even had ads. And
Yeah.
nowadays video is so popular. When you think about, kind of early stages, late 2000s, early 2010s, in that period when you first started, what was the key to marketing then? And do some of these principles still hold true today?
Yep. Oh man, it feels like a lifetime ago. But yeah, I think especially with social, one thing I learned from that, and I guess at a young age was, marketing is really about people, right? And the fundamentals never really change in marketing. People are still people, and there's a way to communicate to them. There's a way to connect with people, and the tools might change over the years. They might get more efficient. You might be able to do things at bigger scale. You might be able to reach into new channels, but at the core basis, you got to have a product that solves people's problems, and you have to know how to communicate to people and really understand their needs. So there's a lot of empathy that goes into it. And I think that's always a starting place in marketing. All the tools and how you message it and everything else falls in line after that. And so very much the principles are always still the same. The tools change, but marketing really doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. And you still got to do testing,
Mhm,
right? And nowadays the platforms might change. More people use TikTok now and Facebook, but maybe back then people used different platforms.
mhm.
You just got to learn how to meet the users, and meet your customers where they are, right? And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
kind
If
of
you
like the key.
understand marketing at like a 30,000 foot level, you could always pick up these new platforms really easily because the principles are still the same, right? The way the
Exactly.
tools work and how you could get the most out of them based on their feature set, that might change, but that's easier to figure out if you know who your customer is, if you know how you want to get what you'd like to get out of them, how you'd like to help them. All that stuff is the starting place for it.
Yeah. And I don't know if you want to talk about this. You also you started a company, Fensense, and you actually you pitched on Dragon's Den. I don't know if you want to just quickly tell that story as well.
Yeah, well, actually, Shark Tank, but Dragon's Den was the original one. It's
Oh,
actually a
right,
lot of
Shark
people.
Tank.
Yeah, yeah, but
Yeah,
actually,
yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
a lot of people don't know that Shark Tank actually started in Canada as the Dragon's Den, and I think one of the guys
Oh,
actually, Kevin O'Leary, might have been in that actually. And he's actually a Canadian. Then he came over into the main Shark Tank as you see it. Actually, Robert Herjavec's Canadian too. There's a couple connects
mm,
there. I'm actually a Canadian
mhm.
as well too, dual citizen. Um,
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so I was able to pitch Shark Tank. Really great experience. The episode didn't air. They pick about 160 companies to shoot, and I think maybe like 80 to 120 of them actually air, depending on the season. So unfortunately, my season, they gave me a call and they said that the season was getting cut short that year. I forget why.
Oh.
They had some sort of like a contract renewal thing with whoever they were working with. So oddly enough, I had a buddy that was also shot that year as well. I think his might have no, his got cut too. But he had a Go Fish Cam. It was like an underwater fishing camera. Pretty cool stuff. Um, Actually, he might have aired. Oh, no, it was a couple years ago. But yeah, so anyways, they ended up cutting it, but still a great experience. So, I set a goal to be on Shark Tank when I first saw my first episode. And, I count it kind of as a success because I was able to beat out
Hmm.
50,000 other companies to kind of get there to the moment and actually do my pitch. And, I think I had a pretty
Right.
cool pitch too while I was at it. My CFO's daughter had a little Power Wheels car, so it was like a
Hmm.
very small, like miniature McLaren, a yellow one. And so the whole pitch was basically showing how easy it was to use the app and the product. So easy to use, a kid can do it. So
Hmm.
once I asked her to park, she parallel parked that thing like a boss. Like she was probably the best driver. She's better than most like adult drivers with that thing. Actually, she spent a lot of time on it. So yeah, when I was coming up with the pitch, my CFO was like, my daughter is on those Power Wheel things all the time, and she's like a pro at using it. So I went out to see a demonstration. I'm like, wow, she's incredible. So
Mm.
that was kind of the whole pitch there. But yeah, unfortunately, it didn't air. Cool experience
Wow.
though.
Yeah, and you were there for 6 years, CEO of that company, and you guys were, one of the best startups in the CES startup weekend,
Yep. Yeah. So we.
as well. You guys,
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
no, no, yeah, no, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. So we won best of CES. I forget the year. The years kind of run together as you've been in the space for a long time. But yeah, so we
Hmm.
won best of CES that year. The year after, I partnered with my one of my friends, Jared, to help launch an eco-sustainable smartphone, and that product also won best of CES the following year. So I have two best of CES products in back-to-back years, which is nice.
Wow, that's amazing. And then from there, you kind of moved over to a role temporarily for a couple of years at TerraCube, and then now you're at NachoNacho, right?
Yep.
Which is
Right.
um, what is it? Was it like coming from kind of like a startup owner? Because
Mhm.
you started this company from the beginning to the end, and then now kind of leaving that space and joining a SaaS company at a very early stage. Is it very similar experience or quite different?
It depends on the culture, but it can be very, very similar. So, as part of like, you could call yourself one of the original team members or founding team, whatever term you guys want to use. Um, it can be very much the same. It depends on the culture and how it's built, right? And I've been in
Hmm.
startups for so many years, and I've seen the people that win, and I've seen the people that kind of flame out, and they might have a great idea, but the execution's bad. So
Hmm.
when I met this team, I found the culture to be one of the most interesting things about the company. Not only do
Hmm.
they have a big vision, but the way the CEO Sanjay is managing the company and building a culture around it, hiring the best talent, running the organization in a very horizontal manner. So everybody feels like they have purpose in the company. I think those kind of principles are very key for a company to be successful, especially as a startup. And that's what attracted me to it. So the feel at this startup is very much you feel like you're part of the founding team. You might even call yourself a founder. Anybody on the team feels like they own their role in this company and they feel like there's a lot of purpose there. And I think that's a foundation for success. And I think this company's got a lot of wind behind the sails because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about NachoNacho. Kind of like a detail of what they do.
Yeah, so Nachos, we're becoming the world's largest B2B SaaS marketplace. So we have a community of about 20,000 SMBs at the moment. We have about
Wow.
250 sellers, and we're adding dozens more per month, and that's starting to accelerate as well. Um, we want to be the one-stop shop for people to come and manage their software subscriptions, discover the best new software in one place, and then save on those software tools. So we provide a variety of different tools, one of which is the marketplace, where all the products we have listed have some sort of a discount associated with them in the form of cashbacks. So when you subscribe to the product, you actually get money back, which you can use on other subscriptions and other services if you would like. Um, the way it works is you come to our platform, you could see a product that you already use, you could subscribe to it, and once you subscribe to it using one of our virtual cards, you could actually that actually tracks the transaction, so we know to give you cash back from that transaction there. And ultimately, what
Mm,
it is a place for businesses to consolidate all their subscriptions and manage them all with company-wide visibility all in one place. And the key to that is because a lot of companies, they have people that leave their team, they have duplicate accounts. Subscription management is just that it's a hassle. And on average, companies waste 30% of their SaaS spend, which is massive. And so our goal
mm.
is to be the one-stop shop to find the best software, get a deal on it, but then manage all that software so you make sure that you're effectively spending your money and running your business properly. Um, and it's
Wow.
unfortunate right now. I see a lot of layoffs happening in the tech scene, and it seems like the first thing they do is go to cut headcount. It seems like an easy thing to do. I think there's a lot
Mhm.
of negative outcomes from that. I feel like any company needs to be very financially competent. They need to run their books really well. And I think one key area that a lot of companies miss out on is spend management on subscriptions and common stuff like that. There's a lot of wastage there that I think companies should look at first before they look at cutting headcount. And hopefully we could,
Oh,
have some sort of an effect on that as companies may or may not go into experiencing a recession here.
yeah. So 20,000 users of Nacho Nacho,
Yep.
or that's just, it's a community of 20,000
Yeah, users. Those are all SMB companies as well too. Our
total.
primary focus right now is startups and SMBs. So we like to
Okay.
get the little guys, those companies where every dollar really counts for them. A lot of them might
Mhm.
have just raised a seed round or a Series A, and they're realizing as they add more team members, their subscription management is getting very out of whack. The industry calls it SaaS sprawl. And as your company continues to grow, if you don't get a hold of this, it gets
Mhm.
really expensive. And it might start with $20 a month here, $1,000 a month, 10,000. It could go into millions of dollars once your company scales.
Oh yeah, once it gets to that $10,000 per month mark, you're effectively losing 120K a year, right? And
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
two full-time people or a full-time person, right? Depending on
Yeah.
the
And your
person.
average company is wasting 30% of that. So, a lot of
Yeah.
companies are spending, some of the bigger companies are spending millions and millions and millions of dollars per year on SaaS subscriptions. And so, by virtue of that, a third of that's getting wasted.
Yeah, for sure. So 20,000 users of the platform, SMBs using the platform. How did you guys? What was Tell us about the growth story. What was the early stages of the company like? And obviously, you joined a little bit later, but uh, like where are these users being acquired?
Mhm. Yeah, good call. So a lot of these users are acquired from our own personal networks. We also are doing a lot of work in SEO. That's been really effective for us. We've seen a nice little pickup in the last few months. We actually are doing a lot of cold outbound as well, which we've seen to be pretty effective. We're working on more of the response rates there, but that comes down to copy and also the landing page, which we have a full rebrand coming out here in the next couple weeks, which I'm really excited about. But a lot of it, I think with these startups really starts with your own networks and just getting the word out about it, because those are the people that know you the best and trust when you do a project or
Mhm.
a company. They know you're going to put your weight behind it, and they know that you mean to actually help people, and you're gonna accomplish this thing. So they could put their trust in actually trying out your early stage startup. Which, let's be honest, every startup, whether it's us or any other company, hasn't figured out all
Yeah.
the kinks yet. We still have to work on our conversion rates. We still have to work on how we position the brand. We still have to work on the features and the feature set that we offer customers to really help them solve their problems and save money on SaaS.
Right. So the company is still Nacho Nacho is still spending a lot of effort into improving the feature set currently, while
Yes.
trying to figure out the best marketing mix or the
Yep.
channel mix.
And we don't really spend that much money. So one of our core tenets for the product is for the company as a whole is frugality. We believe that if we are telling other companies that they're not managing their spend very well, we should also manage our spend well too. So a
Mm,
lot of our marketing activities, we're trying to be as organic as possible, as opposed to just spending a bunch of
okay.
money in ads. We will eventually someday, but right now we just, we really want to talk to every customer. We want to talk to every seller, really understand what they like about the product, what they don't like, how we can improve the business model and everything else going forward, because that's the foundation that you need to really scale a company over time. And it starts with just having those one-on-one dialogues and doing a more organic approach to your marketing efforts.
Yeah. So is there any paid spend currently?
Yeah, yeah. So I can't go into numbers, but we do have a lot of paying users. We also have a nice gross monthly volume as well. And for us, that's the primary metric that we really care about. We care about people, using our tool to subscribe to different services and saving on those services. So that's how we judge our success.
What about PPC? Like, are you guys doing any kind of paid marketing efforts at
Oh
all,
no,
or
yep, not at all. Right now, we don't do any paid, but we probably will in the next few months.
yeah? Okay, cool. Let's dive a little bit. I would love to hear more about your SEO. You said SEO is a strong driver right now. What kind of things are you guys doing? Because right now SEO is getting
Descriptions, all your basic stuff there. We're also getting a lot of backlinks from a lot of partners. When we end up in the news, when we have affiliate partners linking back to us, all that stuff has an effect over time. And so for us, we really see it as an investment in the long term. Um, yeah.
yeah. So if you were to say like the number one key to marketing right now in 2022, would you say SEO is still content? Content is king. Is it SEO, or is it just kind of finding what works for your company right now?
Mhm. Uh, you know, there's a great book called Traction by Gabriel. He's the founder of DuckDuckGo. And in that book, they talk about trying to, since we have so many sellers on our site, there's so many different content angles for affiliates to work with. So as we continue to build out the value proposition for that program and build our list there, we see that as an effective long term channel. However, we're just kind of getting started with the program there. Um, Organic too. You just joining the conversation with other business owners, getting on Quora, answering people's questions. We see a really high conversion rate from that. A lot of people just love the old authenticity. Just even if you're pulling in customers one by one, when they see what your product can actually do, and they actually see the results of it, they get excited that they want to become a referral. They want to become a net promoter for the product, which is what we really care about.
Mm,
So working with our sellers and working with the buyers on our platform to really make sure that they're getting the most value possible out of the platform is really our most effective marketing channel, because our user reviews are really positive. When people get how the product works, they're telling their friends and other business owners about it. So from that, we're getting a lot of organic growth naturally. And it seems counterintuitive because a lot of marketers these days just want to spend a bunch of money on advertising, right?
yeah.
As we were talking
Oh
about.
yeah.
And it's pretty much spam at that point, right? Unless you really dial in the customer experience and you have a core base of people that really love your product, it's not worth spending money on scaling and trying to get out there to the rest of the world. So, uh, with that said, I think we're really close to this inflection point, which we'll probably see
Mhm.
over the next few months. But it all starts with having those organic relationships with buyers and sellers that really see the value in what we do, and have become net promoters and start getting the word out about the product themselves.
Yeah. So, what do you think is the key for affiliate or influencer marketing when it comes to B2B, especially in your space where, yeah, it's like B2B SaaS, right?
Yep. There's several things. First of all, like is the offer relevant for them? Is it rewarding? I mean, sites like Gusto even offer like $300 for a referral, right?
Hmm.
So some sort of an upfront thing people like, if they get a referral. It's nice to have a recurring revenue model as well if they're an affiliate. So the fact that we have a reoccurring model as well is kind of nice for them. Making sure you're working with the right affiliates too, and keeping in communication with them so they know about the promotions and deals that you have going on, the new apps getting released on your platform, that sort of thing. And third is relevant content. So not every product really has a good story behind it, And a lot of these other SaaS companies might just, say QuickBooks, for instance, has a very large scale affiliate program. It's HR, it's accounting, and that's pretty much their niche. And so the best affiliates for them, it's going to be more focused in that niche area. Whereas we
Yeah.
have accounting software, e-commerce software, lead gen software. So there's so many different content angles that affiliates can work with using our platform. And a lot of them are already out there doing free reviews. They might do a
Mhm.
Monday.com review and post it on YouTube, but they might not be making money from it, right? So we're going through and contacting all those people and letting them know that if they're doing any sort of software review, they should be getting paid for that. And they could using our affiliate program by sending people back to learn more about the product that's listed in our marketplace.
Wow, amazing. Well, we're super excited. You guys are still very early stage, but already seeing 20,000 users. Very amazing growth, and I'm excited to have our next conversation and hearing more about where NachoNacho goes.
Yeah.
What's the next milestone that we should be looking out for?
For us, I think for us, we're trying to get we set new internal growth metrics that we're looking at. I can't share this publicly, but for us, when I came in, I want to look at everything from the foundational level and figure out how
Hmm.
we could tweak things that weren't working. And once you have a good foundation, whether it's your communication and branding strategy, looking at your email campaigns and looking at what's not working and what is working. Once you have a good foundation for all of your marketing programs, then you can start to scale things. So
Yeah.
internally, that's what we've been working on over the past month, and I think we're getting to a pretty good space here in the next couple of weeks where we feel like we can start to scale some of these programs, and that's where things are going to get really exciting for us. So I would say, we're probably going to see really significant growth probably sometime in September, October timeframe,
Okay.
and a lot of these programs, like the affiliate stuff we're doing, it's going to have a compounding effect over time. So that's when things get really exciting for us.
Well, awesome. Looking forward to that. And if you ever come up to Whistler, do let me
Yep.
know. I am around sometimes. So, Andy, appreciate your time today and appreciate all your insights. And we'll definitely catch you on the podcast soon.
Great. Thanks, Simon.